The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once, upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, of a many a quaint and curious volumes of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "It's some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more."
Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying amber wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished tomorrow. Vainly I had to sort to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden, who the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken sad uncertain, the ruffling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, it's some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more. Presently my soul grows stronger, hesitating no longer. "Sir," I say, or "Madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came a-rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I open wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams that no mortal ever dared dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token. But the only word there spoken was a whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chambers turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard the tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely there is something at my window's lattice. Let me see, then, what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explored. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Open here, I flung the shutters, when with a menty of flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but would mean of lord or lady. Perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird be guiding my sad fancy into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it worn, though thy crest be shorn and shaven. "Thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's plutonium shore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word did he outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, Other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stocked in store, caught from some unhappy master, for whom unmerciful disaster follow fast and follow faster, till his songs one burden bore to the dirges of his hope, that melancholy burden bore of nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then above the velvet sinking, I betooken myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly gone, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sit engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl, who fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sit dividing, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamp light gloated o'er, but whom's velvet lining with the lamp lights gloating o'er she shall press nevermore. Then, methought, the air grew denser, perfume from an unseen census swung by, seraph whom's footfall tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretched, I cried, thy God had lent thee, by these angels he has sent thee, respite, and nupendies from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff this kind of the Penthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil. Prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore. Desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land, enchanted, on this home, by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil. Prophet still, if bird or devil. By that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow, laden if, within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting. Bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak out of my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight, aware him, streaming, throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.